Hello, so a little video on NotebookLM. As you may know, I have been testing NotebookLM for over 2 months to generate podcast episodes published on Spotify, Amazon, and of course YouTube. I'm going to give you a little update on my discoveries on this tool. First of all, I use it in completely free mode. At the beginning and on a first Google account, I was able to generate 50 podcasts. Then it was no longer possible to generate more except by deleting existing podcasts. So I used a second Google account. I just got to 100 podcasts for this second account, and there I had to use a third Google account. So it's not ideal, but hey, I'm in free mode, and at the time of making this video, Google still hasn't announced how much a paid NotebookLM would cost. On this January 10th, 2025, officially NotebookLM would only work in English. In my case, I came across a prompt from a YouTuber giving the information to force the system to speak in French, and I admit that it works quite well. I will put in a comment the instructions that I give to achieve this result. So what is surprising is that in some cases listeners think that they are real people, other listeners have doubts, and finally other listeners leave comments so that we stop producing content because they do not like the type of content generated by NotebookLM. So sometimes the generation of an episode is not great, that's true. I have to regenerate it and add certain instructions like stopping speaking in onomatopoeia, but it doesn't always work 100%. So for the listeners and to help them better understand my approach, I add verbatim in each episode an explanatory text, hoping that they read it and understand better what I am trying to achieve. To summarize my approach briefly, I would say that I exploit the capacities to synthesize many sources of information on a subject that particularly affects me in order to generate a discussion that should in the best case reflect the synthesis while being guided by my instructions in order to obtain a satisfactory and above all informative result for my listeners. So it's not always easy, but it remains exciting as far as I'm concerned. If I come back to the notion of instructions now, it is limited to 500 characters, so not very practical for developing complex principles. I still manage to force the use of English or French, give a name to my podcast that I named Le Podcast de Philippe. So sometimes he gets hung up on my first name and pronounces it badly. I don't understand why, but hey, it's part of the little bugs, as they say. Still in the instructions, I ask to make a summary on the first 30 seconds so that the listeners know what it is about. I also ask that the listeners think about subscribing to my YouTube channel. And finally, I end with a last instruction to direct the discussion as I would like it to be directed. So since the instructions are limited, sometimes I end up creating a text source trying to explain what I want to talk about. So sometimes it works a little, sometimes it is not interpreted as an instruction, of course, so the result is not up to my expectations. We will see in the future if the function of the instructions will be broader, to be more precise and directive, to be continued on this subject. So I'll stop there for this video. Tell me if it was useful or informative to you. I'm waiting for your comments now. See you later.